Good morning, Nation. John here. Can y'all let me know if we are 5 by 5? What's up, Dynamite? How you doing? First Waffin, I saw you in the house as well. Good morning. Glad you're here. Bama Jen is back from her vacay. Kelly, thank you very much. It's hot but good. You know what I'm saying? How's everybody doing this morning? Running like 30 seconds behind. I had to get some hot coffee. Quickly, thank you. Final countdown for the super chat. And for also getting that song stuck in my head now. I'm going to be humming that for the next 2 or 3 hours. We may not go an entire hour this morning. We'll see. I got some yard work to do, and I'd like to do it before it gets 150 degrees outside. So anyway, thank y'all very much for being here. I think Kelly Rodoff and Jess Lowry were basically the first in the house this morning. Same thing yesterday morning, so congrats on that. Who's in the house this morning? Georgia Peach Prepping. Jan Williams, hi. How are you doing? Thomas G, what's up? Mama W says good morning. Karen Barefoot, good morning. Black Cat Whirligig. The usual suspects and then some, yeah. JDP, good morning. Forrest, the OG, how are you? Okie Prepper. Lord Eagle, good morning. No, Kelly never gets on first. She's trying to win a Berkey. Ink Scars is already throwing it down. KC, good morning. Cowboy in the Jungle, good morning from Virginia. I'm going to be up that way in a little while. I got to do yard work, and then we're driving up to Carroll County. So if you happen to be in that area, look for me. I'll be walking around. I don't even know what's going on up there. The wife just drafted me. Melissa Lynn, good morning. River Rat, good morning. All right, folks. So there's real danger in the air. We're going to talk about that this morning, and the witch as well. Yeah, we'll talk about her. She's on the agenda. Or what's that fancy word for the agenda? I forget right off. Itinerary. There you go. So there's a real danger in the air, and I got a story to share with y'all this morning. This happened yesterday. We'd been in several stores, and my daughter and I, we just had enough. Son, we sitting in the car. We ain't going into another grocery store. My wife and my son go in. It's a food line, local food line. And they're in there for a long time. I'm like, good Lord, what is going on? They went in for like $20 worth of stuff, you know, just to add to dinner tonight or last night. They come out. And as the story goes, there was a lady in front of my wife. She had a bunch of stuff. She didn't have enough money on her, I guess her bank card or whatever. So she's putting stuff back. You know, eventually my wife paid for, you know, it's just $3 or $4 extra. But to start with, it was like $50 or something. And she had to put stuff back. So I ain't, you know, I'm not shaming nobody. Everybody's been there. Most of us have. But there's several people behind my wife and son in line. And she says, and this is very rare. If y'all don't know where I'm at, I'm literally in Mayberry. This is Andy Griffith's hometown. So people here are generally nice, believe it or not. A couple of people back in line, a guy starts complaining. And my wife says the lady behind her just turned around and snapped, started cussing him, telling him to go to another line. While this is going on, she said that the person, the lady that was short on money to begin with, was cussing the cashier. It had nothing to do with the cashier, not the cashier's fault. But now this young man's getting cursed out because she doesn't have enough money. Man, people are just on edge. They're coming unglued. And to know that this is happening here it's got to be getting really bad in other places because, again, we're not known for much, but we're known for hospitality and people kind of getting along and helping one another out. And there ain't a whole lot of that going on right now, even here. I can tell you, it's been a week or so. I was in China Mart. I'll admit it. I was in China Mart, and we had about $200 worth of stuff. Not huge money or anything, but I was getting looks like I was robbing the place. And I noticed this. I told my wife, she thought I was being ridiculous at first, but I noticed people are pushing buggies around. They got one or two items. Oh, thank you. Mr. Bull Hanson, good morning. Bama Jen, in honor of you. No, I'm not wearing an Alabama tie, Tennessee. And you would have thought I would rob the place. The looks I was getting from people, just because I had, again, $200, decent amount of money if you're completely broke, but I mean, it's not life-changing money. So I've noticed this, and people are just tired of being pushed around. They're tired of this sense of impending doom that we have had since the COVID first started, very early. I believe it was 2020. The discourse between people has just gotten worse and worse. I mean, it's getting ridiculous. Even here, as I was saying, I've even seen in chat, and there's nothing wrong with this, but I've seen people in chat saying, let's hurry up and get this over with. Let's hurry up and get the SHTF on. If there's going to be World War III, let's get it on. Like that witch that's flying around on a broomstick over in Asia. If she lands in Taiwan and it kicks off a war, let's get the war going. And again, there's nothing wrong with thinking that way, but what that does is that puts you on edge constantly. And right now, folks, at least where I'm at here in the United States, the edge is razor thin. Not the kind of razors they're locking up right now in stores and stuff. I mean, there's just not a whole lot of play. There's not a whole lot of people getting along anymore, either side of the aisle. Shy moment. Thank you very much for that. What's that say? Made in heaven. That's awesome. Thank you. And if you turn on the TV, you turn on the radio, you turn on social media, it's just constant, nonstop division and hate. You cannot escape this stuff. It's in your reality TV shows, it's in the news. Again, it's on Facebook, it's on Twitter, it's everywhere. So much stuff now is politicized. I mean, my kids, they're getting ready to start school, but I can remember the tail end of last year, them coming home talking politics. And I thought that was very strange. Harold, what's up, brother? So I think our country is in a tailspin. And as much as I've said, I think a red wave is coming. I pray a red wave is coming. But even if we see a monumental red wave in November, it's not going to really change the discourse between people that we're seeing right now. Malachi's Corner, thank you very much. And good morning to you. It's not going to change the way people are dealing with each other. It's not going to make people happier. People are still going to be pissed off at each other. That division is still going to be there and stuff like this. So it's only going to deteriorate. Not trying to be that guy this morning, the gloomer and doomer, but it's only going to get worse from here on out. You had better be practicing going gray man. And what I did was I sat down. I said, you know what? I'm not just going to sit here and tell you how to go, practice going gray man. We're going to go over some tips this morning on going gray man or gray woman, because I don't want to be offensive in any sort of way. And I've noticed in chat, people are saying, they've had similar experiences. So let me see here. It was late when I wrote this list down, so I'm sure there are things missing off the gray man concept. Feel free to add whatever you want. Okay. The principles of going gray. That's what I'm calling this. Avoid eye contact. So if you're in a store or if you're in an SHTF situation, you're out in the street, you're just getting a bad vibe, avoid eye contact, because when you look at somebody, they can take that, especially right now, in a confrontational way. All right. And it just draws attention to you when you really don't need to do that. Somewhere in West Texas. I'm sorry to hear that. A lot of people are dealing with things right now because we just keep getting it shoveled onto us. But the meds are a huge step. I'm not a doctor, so please don't take my advice on that. Walk the pace. So if you're in a store shopping or society's collapsing, your city's partly on fire or whatever, and you're just trying to get out, you don't want to be that person sprinting away. If everybody else is walking, everybody else is kind of peacefully protesting, you want to have the same pace as you're trying to get out of Dodge, because going any faster, or maybe work on that strut, son, if you got a strut going on, because that's going to draw attention to you. The way you walk, the pace that you walk, you need to be mindful of that. Stay in the shadows. Maybe not so much at your local China Mart, okay? But if you're trying to escape, Chaz and Chop, when part of Seattle was being taken over and the police were running or whatever, and people were left to their own, if you're trying to get out, you want to stay on the outside of the mob. You kind of want to blend in with the mob, but be on the outside of the mob. You want to stay in the shadows where not a lot of people are watching, okay? Avoid crowd congestion. This goes along with, woke Mark, Dark Angel. Staying away from the mob. If you get in the middle of a mob, you may not be able to get out of that one all too well. No bright colors or branding, right? So you want to wear very neutral colors. You don't want to wear anything that's going to draw attention your way. We'll talk about a hat in a second. Some people are fans of wearing hats. Some think it draws the wrong attention, but you don't want anything bright. You don't want, even if it's got Joe Biden on the front eating ice cream, you don't want something that's neon blue, for example. Nothing shiny. So, if you happen to have a Rolex or something like that, or nice bracelets, nice rings that are going to draw attention if you're trying to get out of Dodge, so to speak, because again, I'm a Gunsmoke fan. Maybe get those in your pocket or find a way to cover those up, long sleeves or something, if it fits, the temperature. Carry a hat or wear a hat. What do y'all think on this one? I think at the very least you should have a hat, because I like the idea of being able to slightly change the way you look when you're moving. I've heard no on the hat, and it also makes sense, because if something is going down, people tend to be drawn to, how can I put this? If the police spot somebody in a hat and it's a negative situation, they're already looking at that person because they're thinking maybe that person is trying to hide their identity. But I think at the very least you should have one, so you can change back and forth. I usually have one on too, believe it or not, Kelly, when I'm not wearing shades. Oklahoma says negative on the hat. It may draw the wrong kind of attention. I mean, it may help conceal your identity until you're out of there, but it may draw the wrong attention. Confidence without confrontation. This is going to be an issue for a few of you. This means, if they're shouting, "We love Greta Thunberg," and, death to patriots or whatever, some of you are going to be of the mindset or of the approach that you just want to put your hands on somebody. And I understand that, but that's not what you want to do if you're trying to get out of Dodge. So you don't want to confront people. You don't want a situation that doesn't need to exist. You don't want to confront them with words, with hands. You don't want to confront them with the 1,000-yard stare, okay? You want to be able to walk with confidence through a crowd or on the outside of a crowd, look like you belong without looking at somebody, because eye contact, look here, eye contact can send the right or the wrong kind of message. This is I love y'all this morning. Eye contact. Situational awareness, we talk about it a lot. Dynamite's a master of it, but that's your terrain, knowing the area that you're in, knowing the roads. You don't want to wind up on a back street somewhere or a dead end alley in a situation like this. And also, not only do you not want to present yourself as a threat or be confrontational, but you want to be able to identify threats, excuse me, in the crowd. You can glance and kind of figure out who's running things and stay away from those people, at least until you get to your bug out and you get your hands on some hardware. You know what I'm saying? Finally, I would recommend carrying a small bag. Nothing ridiculous, nothing oversized, nothing, again, that's bright colored or logos all over it or anything like that. Something very small, very discreet that you can put on your back because you're going to want both hands. And this is where we were getting into hat territory. So anything, there you go, Art Nanny, walk with a purpose without walking with the strut. And that's hard to do. Anything y'all have to add is fantastic because, again, newer preppers have been peeking their heads through here. And that's fine. That's fantastic. That's what we want. Small bag with a 9mm. Yes. There's a movie. It is 3 or 4 years old at least, but it is called, who's it got in it? Forrest Whitaker, I believe. It's called This Is How It Ends. If you've not seen that movie, try and find that movie because they run into, it's about grid down. I'm not going to spoil the whole thing, but they run into several, what I believe would be common SHTF situations where they have to go gray, where they have to get out of Dodge, and they have to do it safely. So it's a decent movie. I mean, it's not a blockbuster or anything, but anyway, there it is. Again, it's called This Is How It Ends. The ending sucks, by the way. So I got 3 things this morning here. The first one kind of plays into the poll, which we need to go over before I forget. Let me see the poll. Here we go. Have you tried one of the fast food Impossible burgers? They all have the different names and stuff, but I think most of them rely on the Impossible meats. And they always say plant-based. Well, that's fantastic. That makes it sound really healthy, like it's all plants, you know. But soups are often tomato-based or tomato paste-based. There's a lot of other stuff in soups besides just tomato paste. So what else is in there? Who knows? Number 1, the McPlant. The McPlant is no more. McDonald's finally scrapped it. They killed it yesterday. Finally, the McPlant was not catching on. People were not eating it. The people that did try it said it tasted horrible. I never tried it. I'm glad that I didn't. So there you go. That's 1 down, probably 1,000 more to go because every fast food restaurant now, including, I think KFC is selling it, but hopefully they're not selling it. Number 2, 550 more $1 million is going to Ukraine via the government. This now makes more than 8 billion with the B grand total. What in the world? And I saw Zelensky. He was doing an interview. And there was somebody else. I'm not sure who it was. It was a guy that's high ranking in their government. Oh, I know who it was. If I can pronounce his name, Vitaly Klitschko, I think. He's a mayor, and he's one of the front-running candidates who would eventually replace Zelensky, whatever. The point is they're complaining that it's taken so long to get this money from the United States, and that they said it feels like the United States is, y'all can pull this up, I think it was on either BBC or Al Jazeera, that the United States is only funding them into a tie. And they're not playing for the tie, they're playing for the win. And so they need their money faster. They need their weapons faster so they can win the war against Russia. And I was thinking $8 billion. Are you freaking kidding me? And finally, Pelosi. What is the latest on the witch on the broomstick? I watched a lot of it yesterday. Yeah, we did. Impeccable timing too, isn't it? All the other chaos going on. Hey, look what we did. What is the deal with Pelosi? Does anybody know where she's at? I've heard. Now, some of y'all sent me over to, I think it was Monkey Works, great channel, but he's been tracking it or trying to track where Pelosi's at, kind of like the Santa tracker, remember? And I don't know. This lady is not worth starting World War III over. Um, people keep comparing her to the Archduke and stuff from World War I. People actually like that guy. Americans don't even like Pelosi. They're just like, keep her. We don't want her, son. Keep her and extradite her family while you're at it. So I don't know if she's going to land in Taiwan or not. At first, I thought there's no way they're going to be stupid enough to do this. But now I think she's in Taiwan. Well, she's stupid enough to do it then. So I guess we'll see. China put out I guess it's a propaganda video. It was a very threatening video toward the United States, but it's for their people to consume because that's what you do with propaganda. I think they're trying to ready public opinion for a war with the United States. I think it's coming. I just don't know that Pelosi's. I don't know that she's worth starting it over. So anyway, I got a question, and then we'll move straight into the chat here. Are there any fact checkers in the house? I know Mr. Bull Hansen is here. He is not a fact checker. He deals with censorship on his channel. Many of you do. Are there any fact checkers in the house? Please raise your hand, because I'm looking for the actual definition here in 2022 of recession. The word recession. Nobody seems to know what it means anymore. It kind of feels like we're in a recession. It kind of feels like, our hospitals are begging for help. Our education system is begging for help. Employers everywhere are begging for help. There are jobs everywhere. People are not willing to work. No tax money is being paid in. It's all, everything's crashing down. But we're being told by Joe Biden, and now we are being told, or his handlers, and now we're being told by Wikipedia. Folks, Wikipedia, or Wikipedia, as some of you say, you fancy folks, they changed the definition of recession after the White House came out and said, no, son, we ain't in no recession. What y'all talking about? What is the definition of recession? Like, how much worse does it have to be before we are technically in a recession? I'm curious here. Yeah, how convenient. I'm serious here, folks. I'm curious. How much worse does it have to be? Because it seems to me like we are in a recession and they are suppressing that word until the midterm elections. It just feels like after the midterms, they're going to cut that word loose like a Bronco, and that thing's going to ravage all over the place. And then they're going to start playing the blame game. Folks, we're already in a recession. Big time, big time. I think we're at the beginning of a Great Depression. But I don't know. I don't work for the government. So what can I tell you? I believe so, unknown vector. I don't know how much worse it's got to be. I don't know how they can sit there and say, well, we're at 8% inflation. And then you go to your store and you see things have doubled. That's not 8%, man. I mean, it's just not 8%. Oh, let's see here. Arc Nanny, thank you. What if this is planned with U.S. and China and Taiwan? Let me see here. Is the prize we give excuse we get chips, etc.? I mean, it could always be a plan. The thing is, I don't trust Biden. Do y'all blame me on that one? The thief in chief. I don't trust his generals right now. I don't trust the people. That's where we're at in 2022. I don't trust the FBI. I don't trust our own government. Y'all can call me a conspiracy nut if you want to. I don't trust us not being compromised, especially when it comes to China. So this could all be a setup. I mean, Pelosi could be a sacrificial lamb here. It may go beyond her or whatever. If that's the case, I'll tell you there are some very, very powerful people that would want world war if that's going down, if everything's a setup like that. But yeah, I don't trust them for many, many reasons. Yeah. Ask an Indian if the government can be trusted. They'll tell you. The ones that are left will tell you. They changed the definition. It continues to change. This thing, the definition of recession right now is like a chameleon on Wikipedia. You can go over there and it continues to change every couple of days. They'll switch some wording in and out. They really don't want people to think we're in a recession. And, there's some people out there that are gullible enough to believe, hey, I still get the emails. Oh, everything's okay. Joe will work it out. This is part of the growing process. This growing pains for the United States. Okay, if you feel that way, number one, why are you searching out prepping communities on YouTube? And number two, just unplug it, go in there and watch, the Guiding Light, if that still comes on, or the Bold and Beautiful. I don't know. I'm old. ABC Patriot, thank you. Recession when Joe Biden falls off his bike for 2 consecutive quarters. Oh, we're already there then. Big time. That man, he can't ride a bike. But if she's a sacrificial lamb, somebody's saying, then we're headed for a world war. Because if somebody wants it that bad, let me see. The page is locked to the public, no correction, but theirs. Yeah, it's being done by the company themselves. And then, of course, you're seeing on TV, as they always do, both sides of the aisle, there's all kinds of spin. Well, recession doesn't mean what it used to mean. Are you kidding me? Well, what does it mean exactly? And when do we get there? Robin, my daughter is disabled, so I'm always aware. I'm so great, man. I'm almost invisible. That's good. That's fantastic that you understand the gray man concept. Because that may help you out later on. Oh yes, you've seen these too, Casey. The growing pains emails. It just boggles the mind. I'll see comments, and in a way you want to think that they're trolling you, but at the same time they're like, nothing's going to happen. All you've been doing for 5 years is talking about this or this. So you've literally been watching prepping for 5 years and you think nothing's going to happen. Like, what's the logic there? Please explain it to me. The defense secretary said no one can tell Pelosi what to do. She is her own person. Whew. Oh, what a person. She's a real piece of work, isn't she? No one is in charge of her. And, a month ago, they were saying, we support Taiwan's independence. Yesterday, they said, no, we don't recognize them as being an independent state from China. There's so much flip-flopping and misinformation coming out. It's unreal. It is unreal. We finally got a little drizzle in Northern California yesterday. Garden loved it, but sadly it didn't help our 56,000 acre fire at all. I'm glad you brought that up. We need to keep a couple of groups in mind, actually. The folks in California are dealing with a massive wildfire right now in many parts of California, and then also the flooding in Kentucky. They're still dealing with that. So many of them are still tuning in, believe it or not. I'll get messages on Patreon saying, hey, the grid's down, but we got phone, we got solar blocks and stuff, and we're still tuning in. So that's awesome. I'm glad that folks were prepped, but a lot of people are going to be ruined after the floods and potentially the wildfires. They won't call it a recession until they run out of money. They can't run out of money because they continue to print it. It's not actual money at this point. It's like Confederate currency or monopoly money or something. Shy moment. Have a friend who pulled money out of the bank. He finally agreed to start prepping. That's awesome. We spent 8 hours Saturday and 8 hours Sunday hitting stores all over the place. Got him a nice prep going. That's fantastic, Shy moment. I'll say just don't let him burn out. Maybe have that talk with him and say, take it in stride. I know that's hard to do right now in 2022. You turn the news on or you turn Ice Age Farmer on. Christian over there. You're like, I ain't got enough food here, son. What's going on? but take it in stride, because otherwise you can go through a lot. You can chew through money and you can burn out. A lot of gear and stuff that you see for sale, even here in the community. I was just telling somebody yesterday, they left a comment. They said, I can't afford the gear they're peddling. I said, son, I can't afford it either. But what I've found, over the past 8 or 9 years, a lot of it I don't need anyway. That's awesome, Ryan. Just had a buddy ask me how to set up a go bag. That's fantastic. Yes, pray for Kentucky. That's an excellent question, ENC Prepper. Will World War III help or hurt the new BRICS currency? I think a lot of it would depend upon the winner of World War III. If you believe NATO is going to pull through, I think that the U.S. dollar or the U.S. digital dollar would come out king. If the BRICS countries, for example, India, China, Russia, if this thing goes global and they come out on top, which I believe they would, the way I'm looking at it right now anyway, then yeah, you would see a new reserve currency installed for the next 100+ years, but not a financial advisor. So this is just opinion. It almost has now, Marcus. It will get to the point where the dollar has collapsed, millions are laid off, food scarcity everywhere, but there's still no recession. There's some intel hitting Patreon in a little while. It's from a global news source, mainstream source, where they're saying that there is a huge global food shortage coming. They're pointing right to it. They're saying this is going to happen. And for the folks that have been prepping for the past 2+ years, food and stuff, you should be good. Pat yourself on the back. What are you drinking this morning? I'm drinking peppermint. I don't know if y'all can see it here, son. I don't want to drop it on the laptop here. Peppermint Walmart coffee, creamer, and coffee. Cheap stuff, but it's still good. Someone was saying he was on Rumble or something, I think, KC. And also, I guess he's still on Patreon. I haven't seen anything posted in a while on YouTube, but most of the time I don't get the notifications anyway. I'll hit the bell icon on channels and I still don't get a notification. I finally got one last night from Magic Prepper. I was lurking over there, saw you over there, Amelia, a couple of others. And I was listening as I was taking notes, but Chris, that's right. It's Tuesday. That's fantastic news. Thank you. Rudy, for those that don't know, is the Alaska Prepper. He's just done one week in the clink here on YouTube. It happens. Yeah, that's the better question, right? The bitter critter. Wonder what Nancy is drinking this morning. I'm drinking Walmart coffee. I don't know what she's drinking. But we're excited. We're excited here at the Ponderosa. We like fall and winter, and my wife likes all the smells from fall and stuff, and the coffees, and she doesn't get into the coffee. She gets into the apple ciders and stuff. But I'm excited because I like the winter coffees and things. So those are coming. Southern Prepper 1 says coffee shortage coming. If he says coffee shortage is coming, he's usually pretty accurate. I would say there's one coming, but it ain't coming here at the Ponderosa. I got enough stuff put back until they can put me in a nursing home. I got enough coffee. Taxation without representation is theft. Yes, and there's so much of it going on. We're being double taxed and even triple taxed in many cases. You get into land ownership and things like this, or vehicle ownership, and the fact that you have to, re-register every so often, pay it. It's a clever tax, is what it is. No, there's no sense. How much effort does it take to click a button on a computer and renew somebody? It's just a clever tax. What state do you live in? That's a good question. Y'all, please don't put your actual location in the chat. But if you want to meet some beaverines from your own state, please do. I'm going to drop mine in here with my hen pecking self. Well, I have short term and I have long term. So if you get instant coffee, in many cases that stuff is going to last a very, very long time. But as long as you get the green beans that have not been roasted, like the green coffee beans, you can Mylar those all day. I almost put North Kakalaki in, as it's been known here. Boomer sooner. I had a feeling. Oh, that's awesome, Muzzle Flash. Arkansas. All kinds of Alabama fans in here, and Kelly's like Arkansas. Ohio. Wales in the UK. Okay, fantastic. Tennessee, beautiful country. Down that way. Louisiana. I kind of put that together with the name, Mother of Cajuns. Texas. South Central Texas. There you go. Texas is a huge place, though, right? Been through it. Didn't stop for very long. Could not believe how big it was. So, yeah, there we go. Hello from Nebraska. We got time. What do y'all want to talk about here? Steph L, thank you very much. Chris at City Prepping is giving away a harvest ride. Let me sign up for that. Let's see here. City Prepping. Okay. Go over and sign up for it. I know a bunch of us want one. I hope one of us wins it. That's fantastic. Thank you for letting us know. I had no idea. Probably won't win it, but you know, about like the Powerball. Why is the U.S. still allowing China to buy U.S. land? We can't buy land in China. China must be our friends. No, they're not our friends. You would think so, right? But no. Part of it is they are compromised, in my opinion, and part of it is the folks that are running this country, they simply do not have a clue. When you hear them talk about the internet safety and Silicon Valley, for example, big tech, the lawmakers have no idea what's going on. They have no idea how any of this stuff works. And I think it's very similar when it comes to China. They think the rules are the ones that are not compromised think the rules are even across the board, and they're just not. They never have been. This was one of the the upsides to President Trump. He understood how to deal with China. Now, whether or not y'all like him or you think he's deep state or anything like that, you can ask Ink Scars. Ink Scars may be able to drop the link down in the chat below. He actually handles that one. My neighborhood Walmart isn't carrying Cafe Bustelio. You trying to trip me up on the words this morning. Not even a place for it on the shelf. That is one of the ones, you're talking about the yellow bag, right? That is one of the ones where I don't see it very often where I am. Sometimes somebody will carry it for a little while, and I don't know why that is. It's pretty good coffee. Congress is trying to ban semi-automatic weapons. I hope the Senate shuts that crap down. I think they will, but it's the Senate who knows. Matt at the Magic Prepper was actually talking about that last night. I think the Senate will shut it down for now, but they're not going to stop pushing for it. They're coming for the guns. They're just going to chip away slowly. DEF and diesel engine oil. I can let that go into the chat. A lot of folks that are truck drivers here and a lot of folks that deal with DEF on the daily. Just watch the chat, and they should be able to tell you if there's a shortage, if there's an ongoing shortage, if it's been corrected. How dare you, Okikon? I'm running my harvest right now. But you get extra credit for putting a comma between the two rights. Extra credit. But still, how dare you? Yeah, hostile takeover from within. And also you could ask the question, why are we still so dependent on China for everything? Medications especially, that's the first thing that always comes to mind. I can do without the Chinese made duct tape and screwdrivers and stuff. Medication's a huge one. Why have we not nationalized that kind of stuff and came out with generic versions that are made here in the United States so we don't need China in order to survive? And the answer is money and corruption. John, cover loss of work, less food, less heating fuels, power, and grid down. I mean, that's a lot of huge topics there. We've covered it in the past, brother. I mean, people, they've seen hours cut. They've been laid off. One of the things that I've seen in this area, having talked to people, know people and stuff, they're losing benefits. Like their insurances are changing, or they're losing insurances. They're losing 401k. Companies are strapped for cash, and they're starting to make cuts. And that, of course, leads to what you're saying, less food, less heating, because you can't afford it. I don't know, Mama Rocks. I'll have to check when I get off of here before I go mow and weed eat. But is Nancy heading in now? I should hope not. You look for the broomstick up in the air. That's all you can do. Harvest Right is a freeze dryer where you can make your own version of this kind of stuff. But you just make your own. You can make it from leftovers. You can make it from pretty much anything. But they're costly. Texas, why does China think that is a threat, saying they will shoot her plane down? The woman shouldn't be there anyway, first and foremost. Okay, my feelings for Nancy Pelosi, not sentimental feelings, just the way I feel about Nancy Pelosi. We'll shelve that for a second. What is she doing over there? She's over there to kind of rally the troops. She's over there to let Taiwan know that we have their back. She shouldn't be there anyway. China has openly said, hey, we're going to view this as an invasion. That was their wording, because they've threatened to shoot her plane down. So now the U.S. has, fighter jets, which is very uncommon, flying the Speaker of the House around into Taiwan. It's like they're trying to provoke a war. Why? I don't know. I mean, nobody in the United States that I know of, at least, is prepared to go into World War III over Nancy Pelosi. I could be wrong. There might be a lot of Pelosi fans out there. Thank you, First Waffen. Stay blessed. I mean, I don't want to see World War III, but I can see certain situations where it might be justified. Okay. Not Nancy Pelosi. She's not a situation that justifies World War III. Let her go. Let them arrest her and put her in there. I forget the lady's name. That's the WNBA player. Put them in a cell together, son. Let them tattoo each other or whatever goes on. We'll survive without Nancy Pelosi. We can come up with another 80+ year swamp creature to take her place, like this. That's an excellent question, and it's probably a bipartisan issue, Lord Eagle. Why did we ever outsource to begin with? It probably has to do with Republicans and Democrats lining their pockets and, securing deals that are below the table, swamp creatures, and companies that want to outsource labor and not pay a livable wage. Why isn't the rest of the world, I think you mean angry at the United States for shutting off the oil, or are they? I think some of them are. Some countries are not doing without oil because they've kind of gotten in with the BRICS countries, Russia, China, India, etc. And so they're not doing without oil. And I think a lot of our allies probably secretly are pissed at us. I know that the citizens got to be like, man, can y'all please stop? The United States, please stop. Tired of seeing my gas go up. And I know it's coming down right now. But as I was telling my wife yesterday, it's down around, I think it was 398 yesterday where I'm at. It's going to come down a little more. The midterms are going to hit, and then it's going to skyrocket. Has to. Mr. Ray, China will invade Taiwan soon. It will change everything. I've seen the defenses that, not all of them, of course, but the ones that they've released, where Taiwan has ran through drills and they've got invasion defense forces in place and stuff like this. And I'll give them credit. It looks like they would be able to hold their ground, but they'll be completely overrun as soon as China goes in. It'll be another situation where, it'll be another situation where they're turning around, looking to America. We need weapons. We need, what was it, $80 billion or something ridiculous, $8 billion. Who knows? Once it gets into the B's, it's just out the window anyway. We can't. I mean, we're getting ready to see wars on multiple fronts. And the United States can't fund all of these wars on multiple fronts. We cannot fund one half of a global war. We can't even take care of our own country. So all the other times a high-ranking U.S. official was in Taiwan wasn't an act of war. Well, I mean, it really comes down to what China views as an act of war and what they, publicly say is an act of war. I mean, they're the only ones that can answer that question. Maybe they just don't like Nancy Pelosi, which I can understand that. Maybe they think she's over there to instigate and meddle and all this stuff, which she probably is, to be fair. Or maybe they're just looking for a reason to go to war. And Pelosi's that reason. Maybe they're finally ready to go to war. Do you think Biden is hiding? I was thinking about this morning. Or is actually reinfected? He's had more jabs than Hunter. I think he's hiding. I think they're trying to keep him off TV and out of the news as much as humanly possible until the midterms. Now, that's not to say he doesn't have it or he's mysteriously been reinfected after 5 days or something. I guess anything's possible. But I think they're trying to keep him. They'd be better off putting him in the bunker somewhere and nobody seeing him until after the midterm elections. It's all about the midterms right now here in the United States. Everything that you're seeing right now. The guy y'all were talking about from what was it, Al-Qaeda, just nailed him this week. That's a huge story, but he was actually hit, I think, last week. So they're playing the game in terms of timing the information and when it's released and stuff. It's politics. And Maxine, please don't tell me you're talking about Maxine Waters. Come on now. But it's all about timing from here on out. And it's all about information and making people feel a certain way. And they got to keep Biden in a bunker somewhere or completely off TV. They can't have him dropping a bike again. They can't let that be the conversation, or him sniffing hair. They can't allow that to be the conversation right now. Zombie 5, people focused on gas prices when farmers are selling off and going under. Think food prices are high now. It's about to get insane, son. Well, that's the thing. Some people don't believe food prices are high right now. They don't believe anything's going on. I know. I talk to them every day. I don't consider it hate mail. It's just, I don't know what I consider it. Lunacy mail. I don't have another word for it. I don't know where they're emailing from. They're like, food hasn't went up here. You need to stop pushing this narrative. I'm like, where are you living right now? Are you inside the Atlas bunker? You've been there for 2 years. What's going on here? I agree with you. I think it's going to get crazy, and we're going to be that intel's hitting Patreon shortly, but there's no way around it. When people are paying more to move food from point A to point B and there's less food to go around, yeah, the price is going up. Whiskey Tango Foxtrot. Maybe not here in the United States. That's an excellent question. Do you think elites will eventually turn on each other? I don't know about here in the United States, but I think that's what we're seeing on a global scale right now. I think you have at least two groups of elites, and they want a global war to determine who's in charge for the next 100 years. Are we going to continue to roll with a digital version of the US dollar and euro, or are we switching over to the BRICS system? I think that's what a lot of this is about. They're not getting along, so everybody suffers, right? Billy H. Blissful ignorance. People have lost the ability to think cognitively. I don't know. I mean, I don't understand it. These must be the same people that believe booster number 19 is going to be the real deal. I don't know what these people are thinking or where they're shopping. Maybe they just found a killer grocery store and they go in and the prices are 2019 and the prices never go up. And there's a magic place in the back where the stock people go and they harvest the corn. I don't know what's going on. Prices have nearly doubled on many things in my store. And that 8% they're talking about, I'm throwing that out the window. That's not accurate. There's just no way. You know, some of the stuff that maybe has went up 50%, but a lot of it has doubled. Look at Boris Johnson's family, Johnson & Johnson. This is all planned. It's all part of the game. Politicians have been doing this crap for thousands of years. I think a lot of it is connected. Wouldn't it be something to know for sure, like to be able to sit down and just draw it out? This person's responsible for this. These people are in bed together. Beef is off the charts. Hopefully you're talking about the store-bought kind, son. I'm sure you are. 30% at least. Yeah. It's not 8%. I don't know what they smoking, but whatever they're smoking, Caveman James ain't got a hold of that one yet, because even he knows it's beyond 8. Howling Dog Ranch. Some of the horror stories that I've seen online from farmers just saying, you know, family farm, 150 years they've been doing it and their ancestors and stuff, and they're just like, we can't do it anymore. Can't afford to do it. I had to get into something else, and it's sad. I don't have a pegboard that big, Casey Little Al, but I see what you're saying. FJB is underground at Mount Weather. Really? If you got intel on that, email that to me. That's fantastic. Because they keep showing videos of Biden at the White House out on a balcony, of course, because he's infected. And if you notice, and I'm not trying to throw conspiracy theories out there, but if you notice day to day, when you see video of Biden one day to the next day, and you pay really close attention, his bottom teeth are totally different. Just saying. Pull some of that up if you want your mind blown. Time for another Farm Aid concert. Most of the musicians are woke now. I mean, we could get Kid Rock there, maybe Aaron Lewis, a few others. Shell Joe Mom. I think Biden is hiding. Pelosi is being sent to start World War III. Sent or otherwise, she may end up starting World War III. Democrats have been instigating so long and nothing has worked. Pelosi's the final straw. David just throwing it down. He's like, that's all that needs to be said on that. That's another thing, Oklahoma. Is he blinking? I've seen 2 or 3 videos where this man does not blink for a minute plus. It's like not even human. And again, I ain't trying to get into conspiracies, but I'm like, what is going on? And then I mentioned that last week, and somebody sent an email and said that was one of the side effects of dementia medication. So I don't know. Medically speaking, I'm not a doctor, but that's possible as well. Jelly Roll. I just got introduced to Jelly Roll this week, and my daughter is like, Dad. She doesn't really listen to it, but she's like, Dad, I told you about Jelly Roll months ago, and you just wasn't listening. That is not for anybody here to know. I can offer my opinion, and my opinion is I think right now we're just in really, really bad times. I think we are seeing a currency switch. The reserve currency is switching, and in order for that to happen, you must crash the existing system. Now, could be totally wrong. This could be, absolutely biblical, but I'm no expert on that. It could be biblical. It could be the end of things or the beginning of the end, if you will. But humanity has seen similar situations every time the reserve currency switches over. And it always leads to wars, and it leads to a lot of hungry folks out there and stuff. So no conspiracy. They are all the enemy in our country. I agree with that. That's not a conspiracy. They're actively destroying it from within. Oh, I got to get off here and check that out then, Oklahoma. Taiwanese fighters escorting Pelosi to land today. Oh, boy. Oh, boy. Per Twitter. Okay, I'll check that out here shortly. My grandmother lived during the World War II occupation. Mine did too. She was in Italy. That was worse. So, yeah, I mean, you can look at this as a biblical deal for sure. And there are things that line up, with Revelations. But at the same time, humanity has experienced worse. People probably thought at the time that the mustache man from World War II was Satan. They probably thought, this, biblically speaking, this is the guy that's the one world government, and it just wasn't. So there's really no way to know that for sure, but be right spiritually, whatever that means for you. Make sure that you're good on that and continue to prep, because I promise you, whether it's biblical or not, bad times are coming. Food, economic, grid down, war, it's all on the agenda. Folks, this is John with Prepper Nation. Thank y'all very much for being here. I got to get off and check that news about these Taiwanese fighters escorting our favorite Speaker of the House into Taiwan. And then I got yard work to do, assuming World War III doesn't kick off. I'll talk to y'all tomorrow morning. God bless.